there's...
Oh, it was a preacher, right? He was, or some author was writing about he was writing his criticism of the new evangelical, construct.
Yeah. The magazine something review. I'm sorry, this is where my brain is letting go. But it was an open letter to evangelicals about their failures. And the article speaks all the evangelicals speak about what he sees Trump doing. Sorry, this is getting a little political, but it's more about his behavior.
Right. It's just about this evangelical or this religious Christian writing about his disappointment with the current Christian movements that are more politicized.
The last paragraph of the article is the paragraph that knocks me out. I don't know if you can find it, but
I'm looking for it now.
Right.
I'm a little slow with the internet.
Oh, you're not anywhere near as slow as me right now. So
it was in National Review.
National Review.
I was going to suggest that, and then I thought, I don't know if it was that, but yeah, it was that.
Would you be
I'm pulling it up right
dear
now.
And read the last paragraph for me?
As soon as I have it.
It was pretty powerful stuff.
Come on, please load.
Although I'm pretty sure that evangelicals would just not see it.
It is loading. Thank you. Here comes a status bar.
Yay!
I'm struggling with my iPad here on AT&T. Well, I noticed the internet is different today than it normally is. Like the internet login was not the same. Okay, so I've got the article up. I'm just scrolling. Okay, it looks like the last paragraph. Did it start soon enough? Soon enough, the need to defend Trump will pass. He'll be gone from the American scene. Then you'll stand in the wreckage of your own reputation and ask yourself, was it worth it? The answer will be as clear then as it should be clear now. It's not, and it never was. That's the last paragraph.
I just wonder if that will ever come true, if they'll ever see that.
Well, I think this, you know what this reminds me of? A little bit of what Mandisa was talking about earlier, right? So Mandisa, you were talking about how for you, when white America was seeing Charlottesville and going, oh, holy cow, what is this? And you're going, this is every day, right? Like this. The only difference now is, they got the torches and the guns and they're marching out in Charlottesville, but this is pretty much the attitude that's always going on. And, you're watching people like me looking at it going, ah! So I was reading this article and I was just like, wow. So even the people that are Christians are out of touch, right? Like, because for me, the Christian side of this has been an undercurrent that just sort of popped its head out of the water. And it's like, so the only thing that was like surprising to me in this is that they're openly expressing it. And I think that was kind of the thing with Charlottesville, it was that they were openly expressing it, but also the numbers. I have to admit, it was the numbers too. It wasn't just that they were openly, it was that there was more than 20 people. And that was what shocked me. It's usually when I think of the Klan going out the road, it's like a handful of people or something. And this just seemed, at Charlottesville, like a whole lot more people. And with this thing, it almost seems like this guy is surprised by these Christian attitudes that he's seeing. And I'm looking at it like, have you not been watching Wall Builders? And have you not been looking at what's happening with school boards? And have you not been looking at things that like with these school programs, these Christian, into the elementary schools, and then they've got this, going in for trying to get this stuff in classrooms, trying to take the funnel the money from the public schools to the private Christian schools. It's like all of this stuff is happening. Like all of this religious encroachment into the politics has been going on for a long time. And the only thing I see different is that now they stood up and just kind of said, this is what we want. We want control, not just our religious rights. We don't want our right to believe and practice protected. We want to make other people, we want to control what other people have access to.
And that shouldn't be a surprise either. That's been explicit.
Right.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. His article makes it sound like he's just like, oh my God.
What?
Yeah. But really, I mean, it almost seems like, and I don't question his shock at this in the same way that I know I was shocked when I saw Charlottesville and Mandisa's going, why? So I'm looking at this guy and I'm saying, okay, so he maybe really was shocked. But really, like if I was writing the article, it would just be like, okay, you've finally shown your hand now that everybody, not just people that are involved in separation of church and state issues, but now everybody sees what you're doing. Everybody sees what you got your hands in. Everybody sees what your agendas are. You're making it flagrant, bold, open.
Yep.
This is no longer hidden. You're just coming right out with it saying, we want to control the culture for our religion. And And the only thing really is you can't take that back. You can't put that genie back in the bottle, right? And so for him, it's just like, hey, if we do this, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. And I'm just like, they've already done it. The only thing that can't go back in the bottle now is that they've pretty much done it in the sunshine.
Yeah. Well, and for a long time, the people that were saying this stuff out loud, they were written off as, oh, that's just a fringe extremist. You know, people like Brian Fisher or, you know, the Focus on the Family, they've always been out there.
Well, the way this article started, right? The guy writes at the beginning of the article, he says, a Christian's primary purpose is not to defend his own religious liberty. It's not even to fight abortion, as vital as that task is. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, so you are politicizing your religious perspective. You do want to push your religious opinions onto people using the law. Like, you are anti-women's reproductive rights and you're okay with that. You just don't want them openly expressing that we want to oppress women. And it's possible that this guy doesn't understand he's oppressing women with that view. It could be the case like with the intelligent design person who has just absorbed it and they're just like, this is not creationism, this is intelligent design.
Yeah, it's
and
totally
it's like,
different.
Actually, it was Discovery Institute that gave you that label. And so the idea that he actually supports what they're doing, it sounds like, when I'm reading the article, he's okay with these initiatives to politicize the religious perspectives and to use the law to promote his religious perspective and restrict other people from what they can do. But he has this weird issue with these people doing it as openly as they are.
Is it possible? I'm just throwing this out there because I know I come at articles like that with my very atheist perspective, and it can border on the paranoid sometimes. So is it possible that he does believe those things, that abortion is bad, but but that he doesn't necessarily think it should be politicized, that battle should be won in other ways? Is that being read into
If he does, then it's a dangerous thing for him to write, it's not even to fight abortion, as vital as that task is, because I can't think that anybody that's politicizing that, not reading it and understanding that he just endorsed what they're doing.
All right. Well,
he's just saying that's not our primary purpose. But it's like, well, then what, you know, the primary purpose in his mind is to glorify God, right? That's what he ends up saying. And he thinks they've lost their way because they're supporting somebody that doesn't do the things that that their religion dictates should be done. Which, Trump is no icon of Christian. Well, and that's the weird thing. It's like he's no icon of Christian morality. I hate to call it morality, but like the rules or the values is probably a better word. Rules might be a good word, but.
He doesn't have any values except what he. I need to stop.
Right, but it's just that he's not representative of what they say they represent. He is very representative of what they actually represent, which is like division. I mean, look at division, and there's all this undercurrent of racism, sexism, all of that. He embodies a lot of what they. I mean, if like, you know, people joke that if they had the world, you know, Pence's, they say is, you know, the joke that I think it was Wolf said something about, you know, Handmaid's Tale. It would be like his dream future or whatever. And the Handmaid's Tale is just basically retrofitting Old Testament, you know, culture onto the modern era. I mean, that's what it is. They're taking all this tradition. Now, I haven't seen the series. I saw the movie back when, but it was just this idea of taking all of the Old Testament culture and just overlaying it onto current times. And so if we had this biblical ideal of what the world would be, it would be this like horribly sexist, divided society that, you know, this nightmare for many people. But of course it would be just this wonderful world for the evangelicals, right? Who would just be like, this is great.
Well, men.
But I don't know ultimately what they actually want, right? Because I think I may have talked about this before, like the idea of the mulligan, right? Give him a mulligan, or we can overlook all these things about Trump because he's promoting this abortion agenda for us. And I look at it and it's like, my understanding of the concept of Christian sin is that there is no hierarchy of sins. They're all the same sin, right? So to say, I'm willing to overlook lying to see abortion get punished, it's like, well, why can you overlook abortion to see that lying gets punished? Like, because they're the same, right? Like in your religion, there is no hierarchy of sin. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, right? It's like we're all separated from God through sin, right? It's not like you get like a couple mulligans worth of sin and then God starts tallying. It's like all of this sin is supposed to be just as bad. There's no ranking. So I don't understand what makes them so hot about abortion, as even though an abortion is not even a specifically called out problem, right? The Bible nowhere specific. You have to kind of connect a few dots to try and make an argument that abortion is wrong according to the Bible. But let's say that you do. There's other things that are specifically called out, like lying. Right? You do not bear false witness. Don't lie. And so you've got these sins that are just as bad that are called out specifically, and they're saying, well, we can overlook that because we can get this other thing that we want restricted. And it's like, so why how do you pick, and how are they picking and choosing which sins are overlookable and which sins are, we need to pass laws to stop people from sinning? I can't grasp how they, I mean, of course, obviously, the thing is, this goes with the sexism, right? It's like people punishing people for sex, and they have ways of punishing men and women for sexuality that doesn't fit in with what they see as the Christian model.
Right.
But that, to me, seems like what it is. It's like they can't bear the thought that these people are expressing their sexuality. But then I'm like, well, I don't know why the sexuality freaks them out more than, like, the lying freaks them out.
Or if they're freaked out by sexuality, why aren't they freaked out by serial adultery versus?
Yeah, I don't get. And a lot of times they'll say, like, well, whatever punishing women is like their thing, right?
Yeah.
So like even in the Middle East, where you have these like really harsh punishments for infidelities, it's a lot harsher penalties when women end up getting caught. And I feel bad saying that because we've got there's an atheist who was just. His death sentence was just reconfirmed, and I can't bear the thought that somebody's going to die over a lack of belief in God and simply expressing that.
Oh, and I had someone tell me that my willingness to insult Islam and the Prophet while in Saudi Arabia was just as bad as this guy being executed for being an atheist.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No.
And she's Muslim, and she was arguing that my attitude was just as bad, and I was like, no, insulting ideas is not just as bad as chopping somebody's head off.
It's not even as bad as insulting a person.
Right.
Insulting an idea is insulting an idea.
Well, and I told her, I said, if you think that, then that's just further evidence that your religion has poisoned your ability to reason.
No doubt. No doubt.
I mean, it's